The Valdorian Empire had ruled the galaxy for 12 millennia. Their monuments dotted 1,000 worlds. Their histories filled the archives of every civilization, and their cultural achievements were studied in academies across the stars. They were, by any measure, the most successful species in galactic history, until they made one fatal mistake. They declared war on humanity. Supreme Chancellor Kethvar stood in the ruins of what had once been the Grand Archive of Valdor Prime, watching human soldiers methodically dismantle the crystal memory cores that contained 30,000 years of Valdorian civilization. The war had lasted only 18 months. The destruction of everything his people had ever built would take much longer. "Please," Kethvar whispered to the human commander supervising the operation. "Destroy our worlds, enslave our people, take our resources, but not our history, not our legacy." Colonel Maria Santos looked up from her datapad, her expression cold as deep space. "You should have considered that before you decided to exterminate our species." The war had begun, as most wars do, with arrogance. The Valdorians had observed humanity's expansion into their territory. A handful of colonies, a few mining operations, nothing that couldn't be swept aside by the galaxy's dominant power. When Earth refused to withdraw from what the Empire considered their sovereign space, the response was swift and brutal. The orbital bombardment of New Geneva had lasted 6 hours. 3 billion human civilians had died in the first wave alone. The message was clear: submit or be annihilated. Humanity's response had been different. "We could have fought you for territory," Colonel Santos continued, watching as another millennium of Valdorian poetry was systematically deleted from existence. "We could have battled for resources or revenge. Instead, we decided on something more permanent." The humans hadn't just fought back. They had studied their enemy with terrifying thoroughness. Every Valdorian world, every monument, every cultural site, every historical record. They mapped not just the Empire's military assets, but its entire civilization. Then they began to erase it. It wasn't enough to defeat Valdorian fleets. Human forces captured every monument and turned them to slag. It wasn't sufficient to occupy Valdorian worlds. They systematically destroyed every library, every museum, every cultural center. The humans had declared war not on Valdorian territory, but on Valdorian memory itself. "Your people will survive," Santos explained as teams of human archaeologists worked to decode and then delete another archive. "We're not genocidal, but in 1,000 years, no one will remember the Valdorian Empire existed. Your language will be forgotten. Your achievements will be dust. Your very name will be lost to history." Kethvar felt something break inside him as he watched a holographic display showing the systematic destruction across dozens of worlds. The Great Library of Nexus 7 gone. The monument to first flight on Kepler's world reduced to atoms. The eternal flame that had burned for 8,000 years, extinguished forever. "Why?" he asked, his voice barely audible. "Why this?" Santos turned to face him, and for the first time he saw something other than cold efficiency in her eyes. He saw grief. "Because you taught us that mercy is weakness, that civilian lives don't matter, that entire species can be erased without consequence." She gestured to the destruction around them. "We're simply applying your own philosophy." The truly horrifying part was the humans' thoroughness. They hadn't just destroyed physical monuments. They had infiltrated every galactic database, every historical archive, every academic institution. Valdorian history was being edited out. Species that had recorded Valdorian achievements for millennia found their own archives mysteriously corrupted, their records incomplete. "Future generations will study this period," Santos continued, "but they'll read about the unknown empire or the lost civilization. They'll wonder who built these ruins, but there will be no answers. No names, no stories, nothing." As the last crystal core shattered, taking with it the final record of Valdorian poetry, Kethvar understood the true meaning of defeat. His people had declared war on humanity's future. In response, humanity had declared war on Valdor's past. The empire would fall, its people would scatter, and within a generation, it would be as if the greatest civilization in galactic history had never existed at all. Some fates, Kethvar realized too late, were worse than extinction. Sometimes the cruelest victory was letting your enemy live to see their legacy die.